Let's get into the predicted lineup, starting off with Ange Postecoglou in his press conference talking about the injuries. So what have we got so far?
Yeah, apart from obviously the long-term injuries are still the same. You've got Sessegnon, Solomon, Perisic all remaining out for this one. Ben Davies, he's pretty much ruled out for Monday night against Chelsea. He said he's not going to be available after he had a knock in the game against Palace. And he says Destiny Udogie is going to be assessed before the game, but he has put his chances at 50-50 whether he's going to be fit. Paul O'Keefe also saying that the injury has been a bit of an ankle ligament damage, so whether he's going to be fit seems unlikely at this point, but maybe he could pass a late fitness test.
All right, well, let's get into predicted lineup. 4-3-3 as per usual, and in goal is obviously going to be Vicario.
Yeah, and he's also going to have a crucial role play, because how Chelsea like to press us, they're going to go man to man, especially quite high up, very energetic. So if he can pick any sort of passes through the middle and be very confident on the ball, that could go a long way to opening up the space and playing through Chelsea. But if not, it could allow Chelsea to pen us in a bit, and that could cause us trouble.
Yeah, and obviously his unbelievable saves have been keeping us in games at times. His authority as well is looking really good, and I really like the way he comes for crosses, and he just makes that box his own, doesn't he? And it's something that maybe Hugo Lloris didn't do in the last stages of his Spurs career. Moving on to right back, Pedro Porro, who has had a fantastic season so far. What's his biggest role in the game going to be?
Obviously, he's probably going to be up against either Mudryk or Sterling, so he's going to have a very quick player who's going to run at him. But what I really like about Porro, first of all, how he's defensively really shored up his ability on that front. But what I like about him is his passes from deep when we're being pressed. He's a really brilliant outlet when it comes to beating the press. I think it goes under the radar how often we're being... the opposition are coming towards us, and Porro can find a little clever pass, even a dink over the press or a long pass in behind, which really opens up the space, and he's fantastic at doing that, and we're going to need him to be at his best in this one if we're going to play through Chelsea.
Yeah. Alongside him are going to be Cuti Romero. Any hair pulling of Cucurella this weekend or on Monday night?
Maybe. Yeah, well, I wouldn't put it past him. Anyone's hair he can find, he's going to pull, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, probably going to be up against Nick Jackson, who's a very physical presence up there, so he's going to have his work cut out. But knowing how Romero likes to play, he's not going to care one bit.
Yeah. And alongside him on the left-hand side is obviously going to be Mickey van de Ven, the yin to Romero's yang.
The Haaland of centre-backs, says Gabbianini said. Of course, he's going to be absolutely crucial. We know how Romero likes to be aggressive, so he's always got Van de Ven mopping up behind him, and that's going to be very crucial on this one, especially if we're going to have moments where we go forward. We're going to need someone like Van de Ven making sure that they're on the break, that Chelsea, because they do have a lot of pace in the front line, they're not taking advantage of that.
And then to make up that back four, Emerson Royale on the left-hand side with the doubts of Destiny Udogie and Ben Davies, we do envisage Emerson to come back in. And that is probably our biggest weak point in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think on the ball especially. I think defensively, I don't think we lose too much with Emerson being there. I still think he's a solid defender. And I'm assuming Chelsea play a winger who's going to like to be inverted. Considering that Emerson will be inverted, it should help a bit with making sure that he's stopping shots from cutting inside and stuff like that. But going forward, you're going to lose a bit. He doesn't have that offensive ability about him, and he doesn't pick up the positions Udogie does as well. So that's unfortunate, but you're going to have to deal with what we got.
Yeah, so let's run through that back line with you guys one more time. It's Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Emerson Royale left back, Romero and Van de Ven in the centre back positions. In number 6 is obviously going to be Yves Bissouma, and I feel like Bissouma is going to have a absolutely vital role to play in this game, and we need to see better levels than we saw from him in the last game.
Yeah, he usually steps up for these when the bigger games come, and he's going to have to do that in this one for sure. Especially with Enzo, who's playing very well at the moment. You've got Gallagher, who's been a bit of a pit bull, and then you've got Caicedo, who can run all day and night. So Bissouma's, if we're going to take control of this game, Bissouma's going to be a massive part of that, with his ability on the ball to break the lines of the press. Ball carrying ability. But he's also going to have to watch out for people like Cole Palmer maybe behind him, or Gallagher in the spaces. He's going to have to be at his defensive best. So he's got a big role to play here.
And alongside him, Pape Matar Sarr, who had a stunning game last time out. He does have to watch his back a little bit with Rodrigo Bentancur back in the frame, but we do think Sarr's going to get the nod for this one.
Yeah, I don't think there's a massive reason to take Sarr out, apart from maybe if you really believe that if Bentancur's back, is he that much better than Sarr that you just put him in if he's fit. I don't think he's fitness-wise, he's probably at that level yet, so I just envisage Sarr will be on the front here from the start. But he's playing well in his own right, and again, he's also got a big game ahead of him with the likes of Caicedo and Gallagher and Enzo in the centre, so it's not going to be easy, so he's going to have to be at his very best.
The great thing about Sarr is just nothing seems to faze him. Coming in with hardly any game time in the San Siro, best player on the pitch. First game in a while again. North London Derby last year was one of our best players. You know, he can step into these big games and it just doesn't faze him at all. And like, for such a young player, how impressive is that?
Very impressive, and considering he's been so consistent as well. And even in games where he hasn't been playing too well, he usually finds a way to gain back his form, and he ends up, I don't think he's had a really bad game yet so far this season. So considering he's so young, he's got, I think, so much to learn as well. He's only getting better and better, so very, very impressive.
And then to make up that midfield three is obviously going to be James Maddison. In my opinion, he has been the best player in the Premier League as of yet. And again, another vital game for him.
Yeah, and he's been the one where when we need something to happen, he's usually the one who provides it. And it's going to be difficult again. Maybe he's going to have to come a bit deeper again in this one to help out in the midfield, because Chelsea can be very intense in the midfield three. So he's going to have to get his stuck in, I think, a bit, James Maddison. But if he can do that, I don't see him... I think he'll be looking at Chelsea midfield and think he can get a bit of joy in the spaces. I reckon he's going to be feeling if he can get even a moment in and around the penalty area, he can make the difference. So again, he's going to be crucial. We're going to be looking at him to create that spark, but we know he has it in him.
I want to see those set pieces from James Maddison. I want to see him score a free kick. I mean, we're starved of players to score a free kick at this football club, and we thought when James Maddison was to come, we'll start seeing that a bit more, but we haven't as of yet. But hopefully in this game, then we can see a couple of them come in. But
see the penalty yet, let alone a free kick.
I know, it's mad, isn't it? Arsenal have had like 6 or 7 penalties already, and we've had none. But let's move on to the front line. On the right-hand side is going to be Decky, the water carrier, someone that does a very underrated role for this team. And how important is he going to be in this game?
Very, very important, and especially Chilwell being out. I think whoever plays the left back, whether it be Colwell, like we've predicted, or Cucurella, I think he'll fancy his chances, to be honest, taking them on the right-hand side. And hopefully he can be a bit more better in the final third than he has been so far this season. But I think I've been really impressed with the job he does for the team, and hopefully that continues in this one.
Up top, obviously going to be the main man, the captain, the talisman, Heung-min Son, who's this season so clinical. And he better be at his clinical best again tomorrow night.
Yeah, and we're thinking that Silva is probably going to start alongside Disasi in the centre-back spots for Chelsea. And Son hopefully will be looking at that situation thinking, you know, if I can just be as sharp as ever, if I pick my moments to try and run in behind Thiago Silva, surely he can get some joy out of that situation with his pace. And obviously we know with his unbelievable finishing ability, give him a chance and he'll definitely take it. He improved that against Palace, 1 chance, 1 goal pretty much. So you know, Son, he's now becoming one of those players where even if he's not so involved in the game, he can just provide a moment for you. And, you know, you just got to watch him all the time.
I feel like he's always been like that, though.
I feel like previously when he's been playing on the left-hand side sometimes, when he's not involved in the game as much, he can be a bit anonymous. But
he could always come up with those moments of magic, though.
Yeah, but I feel like when he's playing on the left, because he's not always near goal, he does have games where he's just a bit like on the periphery and he's not getting in those areas. My point being is now he's central, like even when he's anonymous and on the periphery, because he's in those central areas, just give him a moment and bam, he has that finishing ability on him. Whereas when he's on the left-hand side, when he's not that involved in the game, he still has to do a lot to get those moments to be in front of goal, where now he's just going to be there all the time. So he could, at any time, he can just come alive and get a goal or get a finish on him. And even like against Arsenal, like not so involved, and then bam, he makes a quick run in the box and great finish.
But that's like the classic classic number 9 role under Ange Postecoglou, isn't it? Like sometimes a bit of a sacrificial lamb. Maybe you won't see the ball for half an hour, but when you get the ball, you got to score, because that's where, be right place at the right time and show your clinical edge.
But to be fair, he is improving his all-round game as well, isn't he? His hold-up play is becoming better. He's doing better with these like little layoffs and finding his teammates and stuff like that. And that's something which I hope he continues to grow, because that's going to be very important in playing in that number 9 role. I'm just thinking about him up against the centre-backs. Is he going to get a lot of joy? I hope he will. I think he'll be looking at Silva, and as much as Silva is still playing at a high level for his age, I still think he'll be looking at that situation thinking, I can get some joy out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's most definitely going to be the danger man with his link-up play with James Maddison. And then on the left-hand side, to finish up the starting 11, is going to be Brennan Johnson to be back in the team, to take Richarlison's spot on that left-hand side. And look, I'm expecting a big game from Brennan.
Yeah, I think he deserves it. I think Richarlison didn't have a great game against Palace, and as much as he's contributing, I don't think his performance level has been high enough to tell me that without one bad game he can't come out of the team. So Johnson had a great cameo against Palace, and he's had a few good cameos since coming back from injury. So hopefully this will be his first start since Arsenal, and that'll be unbelievable. His first 2 starts at Arsenal away and Chelsea at home. So it doesn't get much bigger than that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's run through that lineup with you guys one more time. It's Vicario in goal, Porro right back, Emerson left back, Romero and Van der Ven in the centre-back positions, with a midfield 3 of Bissouma, Sarr and Maddison, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson supporting Heung-min Son. And actually, funnily enough, you cast your mind back to all those years ago when Pochettino said we needed that painful rebuild. Only one player in that starting lineup is a Pochettino player.
Yep. And that, I think that goes to show how much change has happened, and also the age of the squad as well, so much younger than it was last season. So I think the rebuild is there in front of our eyes, I think.
Yeah, it really is. And nearly, well, I would say nearly complete. There's still a lot more work to do, but nearly complete in a sense that we can go on with what we've got.
If you look at our first 11,
yeah,
there's very little things I think need massive improvement when it comes off, like just purely our first 11.
Yeah,
maybe your left winger.
I'm talking about more the squad.
Yeah, but I'm saying right now, if you're looking at just where like a building block to go from, obviously it starts with the first 11, then you build from there. And our first 11 is looking very strong at the moment.
Yeah, it is. In terms of predicted lineup, we're sticking with it.
Predicted scoreline.
Predicted scoreline, yeah?
1-0.
Yeah, 1-0. Sim's going 1-0. I'm going to go stick with 2-1 to Spurs. But that is our predicted lineup. Let me know in the comment section below, do you agree with the lineup? If not, put yours in the comment section.